Good day everyone and welcome to the channel again. Today we will be discussing rulers in some African countries and how long they have been in power. African leaders aren't always known for willingly exiting office on ceremonious terms. Currently, there are more than 5 presidents who've remained in power for over 3 decades, not counting the handful whose presidencies span a similar time frame and have either died or been ousted. It takes countries with formidable institutions to ensure elected presidents don't try to lead beyond their term limits. But that still doesn't mean some presidents won't try. And as can be seen in countries like Togo, Comoros, Cameroon, and more, presidential terms are too often a suggestion. For every Senegal and South Africa, there's Uganda and Equatorial Guinea. Below is a list of the longest-serving African presidents who are still at the helm of power. Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, Equatorial Guinea, 1979. Now having ruled for 46 years, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo is the longest-running president in the world at the moment. Usurping power through a coup, he nominally returned Equatorial Guinea back to civilian rule in 1982. However, given the constitutional power to rule by decree and the overwhelming dominance of the ruling Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, it would be totally disingenuous to deem his governmental style as democracy. Under Mbasogo, human rights almost do not exist, partly evident in an economic situation where most people in the small, oil-rich African country are living under the poverty line. Paul Biya, Cameroon, 1982. At 92 years old, Paul Biya is the oldest head of state in the world. First becoming president after the resignation of former President Amadou Ahidjo, Biya has remained in office by allegedly enforcing his will even though elections are held every 7 years. Opposition parties have accused him of election fraud and violent repression since multi-party elections started in 1992. In 2008, Cameroon's National Assembly removed the term limits that would have kept Biya from running in the 2011 elections. Ahead of these year's election, he will once again be in contention, having declared his intention recently to still remain in power despite health challenges. Spending times in hospitals abroad, he will still be running at age 92. To put these in context, he was president before Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi were born. They grew, became professional, dominated Europe's top elites footballing stage and podiums, winning many trophies and accolades, personal and collective, both left Europe. To play what can be said to be retirement football, will probably retire, and Paul Biya might still be president. Denis Sassou Nguesso, Democratic Republic of the Congo, 1979 to 1992, 1997. A 5-year gap is the reason Denis Sassou Nguesso isn't the longest-running president in the world right now. After his first run as president, during which he won re-election unopposed twice, a national conference led to a multi-party election in which Sassou Nguesso placed third. In disputing the results, he plunged the country into a civil war that claimed thousands of lives, and on his return, a second civil war ensued. In 2015, a constitution change adjusted presidential terms from 7 to 5 years, but also abolished term limits. The 80-year-old will almost certainly be vying for an extension come 2026. It is alleged that there's no electoral transparency in Congo-Brazzaville, as internet connectivity is routinely disrupted and international observers are shut out. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, Uganda, 1986. Like several of his colleagues in this list, Yoweri Museveni came into power on a path paved by war. He was sworn in as head of state after the Ugandan Bush War, and elections began to be held from 1996. Heading into the 2006 election, the constitution was amended to allow Museveni return to office after he had served the 2 terms as allowed by the 1995 constitution. Since then, opposition and observers have stated that elections in Uganda are neither free nor fair. In the 2021 polls, main opposition candidate Bobi Wine challenged the results that declared Museveni winner and was harassed by state security for his outspokenness. While he stood and won every presidential election in the past 30 years, there's no illusion that Uganda is more autocratic than it is democratic. Isaias Afwerki, Eritrea, 1993. Over 30 years since it fought its way to independence from Ethiopia, Eritrea is yet to have a fully functioning constitution. General elections have never been held, budgets have never been published, and Isaias Afwerki continues to rule over Eritreans. As the omnipotent authority in the East African country, Afwerki allegedly keeps dissenters in line through repression and a general assault on human rights. Even if things were to change from a clear dictatorship into a democracy, it would only be nominal, as the Afwerki-led Eritrean People's Liberation Front is the only legal political party. There's a reason Eritrea has been dubbed Africa's North Korea. Ismail Omar Guelleh, Djibouti, 1999. Ismail Omar Guelleh, or IOG, is yet to conduct free and fair elections, according to opposition parties in Djibouti. In 2010, he persuaded the National Assembly to amend the constitution to allow him run for a third term. In 2 years' time, he could be on to his sixth term. While general elections are routinely boycotted by opposition, the few that have run against him, like Zakaria Ismail did in 2021, have accused Guelleh of stuffing ballot boxes to force his unbroken incumbency. Paul Kagame, Rwanda, 2000. Opinions on the long-time Rwandan president, Paul Kagame, depend on who you ask. To some, he's the hero who quelled the Rwandan genocide of 1994 and has brought the East African country into a period of increased stability. To others, his stately candor thinly veils an authoritarian streak, which results in repression of press freedom and accusations of human rights violations. After winning the 2003 presidential election, 3 years after he ascended to the post following his predecessor's resignation, he's won re-election twice, and an amendment in 2015 has given him the ability to contest for more than the stipulated 2 terms listed in the original 2003 constitution. For Nasingbe, Togo, 2005. For nearly 6 decades, Togo's presidency has been a family affair. After the death of his father, Nasingbe Ayadima, who ruled the country with an iron fist from 1967, President Faure Nasingbe wiggled his way into power through a constitutional coup. Since that successful power play, Nasingbe has bent the constitution to his whims with the help of his ruling party, Union for the Republic, UNIR, which has dominated parliament due to opposition boycott from disillusionment with electoral irregularities. Now, Nasingbe has the opportunity to achieve perpetual executive power after parliament adjusted Togo's government style, despite public outcry against the change. With the UNIR controlling parliament for another 6 years and the foreseeable future, Nasingbe's spot in an infamous list like this is guaranteed. The issue's in not ruling that long, but ruling and doing nothing good for the masses. To turn the tide, the people must understand their power and unite to fight and hold the government accountable, because the welfare of the people is the sole and primary function of government. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more.